One of the principles that we're looking at in these books is the intelligence of the flesh, the body as its own form of intelligence. Now, we get so used to intelligence being thinking, and in reality, you cannot think your way into the body. It's a process of feeling, because intelligence in the body is in feeling. It's in sensation and feeling, not thinking. Thinking is a kind of intelligence of the cerebral cap. Now, if you think about it, all numbers come out of fingers. We work in the base 10 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fingers. That's why we count in tens up to 100 and so forth. Right? If we had 6 fingers, we would count in the base 6, and we don't. All mathematics comes out of our fingers. And when children learn to count, we do 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. So, the body is the base of our mathematics. It's the base of our language. It's the base of everything we do. So it's good to come round to this perspective of just how important it is to be embodied, literally. Now, this practice is the union of the 3 centres. When you go into the book, we talk about somites. And now somites, very briefly, are the segments of the human body. We are segmented. If you look at our biology from a deep level, we are segmented just like insects are, just like worms are, except that you don't see our segments on the outside, like you do in an insect, like you do in a worm. Our segments are internal. So for each of our segments, we have a ring of bone and a pair of nerves coming off a central nerve, the spinal cord. So each segment is marked by a ring of bone and a pair of nerves coming out. And that gives us our segmental vertebral quality. Now, some of those segments are joined up in the head to create the cranium, and some joined up to create the pelvis and the sacrum and the tail. But those segments are very real. And each of those gives us the capacity of feeling into the body. There's a lot of them. So what traditional practices do is tend to chunk the body into available spaces for awareness. Now, we'll look more at this later when we look at chakras in practice, but this practice primarily comes again from the Chinese breath-based tradition, and we're talking here about the 3 dantians. And that's the bottom dantian, the lower dantian, which is your abdomen. So it's from the pelvic floor up to the diaphragm. And that lower dantian is really important in terms of the quality of intelligence of this enteric nervous system, of the gut brain, of the organs down here, the gut feelings that this emanates, that this is alive with. The middle dantian is the chest. And again, the softness of this area, the pressure changes here with the breath, where changing pressure in the thoracic cavity and the feeling of the heart pumping. All of these changes are perceived in the body as having a particular quality. And of course, they have a particular quality of intelligence. When we looked at coherence breathing and the heart math tradition, which is very big on coherence breathing, they talk about the intelligence of the heart, the most electromagnetic organ of the body, as being really important. And again, this middle dantian has a particular quality to it, which is different to the lower dantian. And then there's the upper dantian, from the neck upwards here, this whole area here. And this upper dantian, again, has a separate quality. It's the center where most of the sense fields, apart from touch, enter into the brain and enter into the cranium. So you've got sight and hearing and taste and smell. And we've also got the processing means of the cerebral cortex, thinking, meaning-making, sense-making, that kind of thing. So again, this center here has, again, a very different quality. So to come into the fullness of intelligence of this living beingness that we are, one of the practices is to use the breath and awareness to land in these centers, really feel into them, and then bring them together into one flow of breath. So we're going to go through a practice now of finding attention and awareness in the centers, and then bringing them into a unified flow with the inhalation and the exhalation. So the first thing to do is get yourself super comfortable. Yeah, you can do this lying down. You can do it sitting. I recommend doing it sitting because, again, it helps us stay awake. and present. But if you feel the need to lie down, then just lie down. Make sure you're comfortable, make sure you're warm, and enjoy the practice. So the first thing to do is just rest into your body as best as possible and allow the breath to do whatever it wants to do. Don't control the breath. Don't manipulate the breath. Just allow the breath to do whatever it wants to do. So you're giving control of the breath to the brainstem, not voluntarily manipulating it. And gently scan your body from the top down and from the bottom up a few times to start getting into this intelligence of the flesh, this feeling-based intelligence of the flesh. A few more times, just scanning up and down, side to side, back to front, all around the circumference of the body, from top to bottom, from the bottom to the top. Now, of course, it may help you to manipulate the breath and do that. So we're going to do a couple of breaths where we're going to extend the breath a little bit, maybe 5 to 6 seconds on the inhale and the exhale. And on that 5 to 6 second inhalation and exhalation, again, just scan the body up and down a few times to land your attention into this fleshy intelligence of sensation and feeling. The historical disavowal of the intelligence of the flesh, the ignoring of the intelligence of the flesh and considering intelligence only to be the cerebral cortex, has in some ways disenfranchised us from this embodied intelligence. So allowing ourselves to fully return to this cohesive, coherent, unified intelligence that we find in these traditional kind of breath practices. So now sustain that quality of breath, or again let the breath relax, depending on what feels best to you. And bring your intelligence right down, bring your awareness right down into the belly now. Aware, nasal, low, slow breath, and feel that belly distend and then retract. Expand and release with the breath. And feel the organs in here, feel them move. They do. As you breathe, they move. And that information is being received by the sensory nerve endings and is transmitted up to the brain. You might notice the sensational root of anxiety being a trembling sensation around the intestines, which then gets translated as anxiety and fear, kind of butterflies type feeling. That comes from this center. Now, a huge amount of serotonin, the joy neurotransmitter, is made in the guts. And of course, many people eat qualities of food, particularly sugary, carb-rich food, fat-rich food, for comfort, because it gives a temporary serotonin release. So really let yourself feel into this lower dantian. The front, the back, the sides, the bottom, the top of the whole dantian. Really feel in there and get a sense of what this center of intelligence is like. What does it communicate? What does it have to say? Now, of course, repeating this practice over and over and over again gets you much more familiar with these qualities of intelligence, certainly if this practice is very new to you. So give yourself the time to go deep into it and to repeat as often as you want to, as often as you need, as often as you can, to really get this cohesive, embodied intelligence working really well for you. And gradually bring your attention up into the middle dantian, into the center of the chest. And hold your awareness in the center of the chest and feel what this center of the body is communicating. What does it feel like? What are the sensations? The change of the breath and the pulse of the heart. Again, in the beginning, it can be tricky to hold your attention in a body center if you're used to having your attention in thinking. There's what's called a brain taxi syndrome, where the body is just a taxi to get the brain to the office and back. So we're making sure we're coming out of that, and it can take time to trust and land in the body. And again, particularly if somebody who's been through some kind of major body-based trauma, it can feel very unsafe being in the body. So give yourself the time and trust. Do the self-soothing necessary to begin to feel some ease and comfort in the body. And when you're ready, bring your attention into the upper dantian, as if you're feeling inside of your own brain, of your own head, the center of those sense organs, the center of the brain. Get a sense of what this is like in here. So the second phase of this practice after the body scanning is to take the time to really feel into and become aware of each of these centers and the qualities of difference and similarity between them, so they become familiar. Places where you can land your attention and awareness and meditate, reflect, feel fully how it is. And the next phase of the practice is to weave them together with the breath. And you're going to need at least a 6-second inhale and 6-second exhale, and longer if you can. So the work you've done on extending the exhalation, on extending the breath basically, is going to serve well here, because it's going to give you time to feel into each center with the movement of the breath. So starting at the lower dantian, breathe in to the lower dantian. You get that aware nasal low slow breath, and it feels natural to bring your breath into here. Very slowly feel the extension, the distension of the belly. And then bring your attention slowly with the breath up into the middle dantian. Take your time as you're breathing in. You're still breathing in really slowly breathing in as you rest your attention in the second dantian. And then bring your attention up into the upper dantian as you're still breathing in slowly. So you can see how valuable it is to extend the breath, to begin to land into this whole body mind intelligence. And then on the exhalation, as you breathe out slowly, your attention is in the upper dantian. As you exhale, gradually drop it down into the middle dantian, and then into the lower dantian. So every single inhale is going to be a journey of attention and awareness from the lower dantian up to the middle, up to the upper dantian. And every exhalation is going to be a journey of attention and awareness from the upper dantian through the middle dantian to the lower dantian, uniting the three centers. Remain steady with the practice. Remain clear, steady, clear, centered, grounded, resting into the body deeper and deeper as you breathe, bringing these centers into a sense of cohesive unicity. Now finish up this practice again by breathing out and coming back into the lower dantian. So you're going to finish in the lower dantian. You can do this for as long as feels comfortable for you. This is a short practice we've just done. You can do it for 15 minutes, Give yourself a timer or 20 minutes or something like that to really get into the practice and get a sense of how it works for you. How does it feel for you? Yeah? And to begin to make it work for you, because it's a potent practice. So enjoy this practice of unifying the three dantians. Take it away with you, and again, weave it into your life, because you've got decades of practice where you can begin to really embody these practices and weave them into your life in a profound way. Thank you.